That day began like any other in bustling Chicago, but for Evelyn, it held a special significance. She had an appointment with her past, a visit to the Grand Majestic Hotel, the first brick in the empire she had built with so much sweat and tears. It was Friday, and the hotel was buzzing, filled with elegant people, designer luggage, the typical hustle and bustle of a chic establishment. Evelyn arrived unassumingly, dressed simply in jeans, a basic t-shirt, and her hair pulled back in a quick bun. She didn't need all the pomp. That place was a part of her history. Every corner of that lobby held strong memories from the time she signed the purchase contract, trembling with emotion and hope. Right there, at that very spot, she had envisioned a future that seemed distant, almost unattainable, but which, with much struggle, had become a reality. Now she just wanted to feel that energy again, relive that magical moment when the dream began to materialize, to breathe in the distinctive scent of the place that represented her greatest victory, proof that she could conquer the world. As she entered the lobby, a discreet smile bloomed on her lips. She noticed the changes, the makeover the hotel had undergone, the modern artwork, the sophisticated lighting, but the soul of the place remained intact. That atmosphere of elegance and history mingled in the air, creating a unique ambiance. Evelyn walked to the reception desk, her chest filled with a mix of nostalgia and pride. "Good afternoon," she said with a serenity that contrasted with the busy environment. "I'd like to take a look at the new suites. I heard they've been beautifully renovated." The receptionist, a young blonde with a sour expression, didn't even bother to look up. "Do you have a reservation?" The question sounded almost like an accusation, a tone of disdain that already began to irritate Evelyn. "No, I don't," she replied, trying to stay calm. "But I'm just a former acquaintance of the place. I'd like to revisit and see the updates." The receptionist cut her off abruptly. "Then you can't come in. The hotel isn't open for tours. If you don't have a reservation, don't insist. You can wait outside." The coldness and rudeness of the young woman started to stir Evelyn's anger, but she took a deep breath, swallowed her pride, and tried to reason, but to no avail. Evelyn tried to reason with her, maintaining her composure. "Listen, I'm just looking." The receptionist interrupted her again, now, looking directly into Evelyn's eyes, her expression filled with judgment. "If you don't have a reservation, there's no point in insisting. You can wait outside." Some guests began to stare. A woman, observing the scene from the corner of the lobby, whispered to her husband, "That's what happens when you let just anyone in." Evelyn took a deep breath. It wasn't the first time she had experienced something like this. But what came next was even more cruel. The receptionist picked up the phone and spoke loudly enough for everyone to hear. "Mark, can you come here? There's a woman insisting on coming in without a reservation. She's causing a disturbance." A few minutes later, Mark Antunes appeared, tall, his hair slicked back, wearing an impeccable gray suit, and that fake smile of someone who thinks they rule the world. He looked at Evelyn as if she were a problem, not a potential guest. "What's going on here?" he asked, crossing his arms. "I was just trying to—" Evelyn began to explain, but he cut her off. "Ma'am, please, let's not make a scene," he said without even listening. "This is a private establishment. No entry without a reservation." He gestured firmly. "I'm going to have to ask you to leave." "Do you know who you're talking to?" Evelyn asked, her voice steady despite the rising anger within her. "To someone who clearly doesn't belong here," he replied, now with a mocking smile on his lips. "Security, 2 of you." 2 security guards quickly approached, as if Evelyn posed some kind of threat. She looked around at the stares of disdain, the whispers, the judgments. Some people even laughed, as if they were watching an amusing spectacle. Evelyn felt a knot in her throat, not of shame, but of indignation. She could have shouted, demanded respect in that moment, but she didn't. She simply took out her cell phone and said calmly, "Call the president of the Sousa Lima Group. Tell him the founder is being kicked out of her own hotel." Mark scoffed. "Sure. And I'm the owner of the Waldorf Astoria." Evelyn stared him in the eyes without blinking. "You're going to find out very soon who I am, and when that happens, you'll wish you had never treated me this way." Mark let out an impatient sigh as the security guards awaited his order. The entire lobby was silent now. as if everyone were watching a spectacle of humiliation. Evelyn stood firm, but inside she felt the familiar ache of a wound that never fully healed. "I don't know what this woman thinks she's doing here," Mark said sarcastically, looking around to gain the approval of those present. "This is no place for this kind of nonsense." The word "this kind" hit Evelyn like a punch to the gut. She realized that to him, she wasn't a woman. She was a type, a stereotype, an invisible threat. Her history, her achievements, her name on the company's incorporation papers didn't matter. In his eyes, she was just another one of them. A guest sitting in the nearby lounge murmured, "It's obvious she doesn't belong here. Look at her clothes." A passing waiter whispered to another, "It's the staff. People think they can just walk into any place now." Evelyn pretended not to hear, but each phrase was like a knife slowly twisting. She was used to this kind of judgment, ever since adolescence when she entered stores at the mall and was followed by security guards, even when she stepped onto the stages of corporate events and was mistaken for the cleaning crew. In her childhood, living with her mother and 3 siblings in a shack in the outskirts of Chicago, she dreamed of a better life, and she achieved it. But no one talked about the burden of succeeding, the weight of carrying your own story in a world that only values what shines on the outside. Mark turned to the security guards. "Escort the lady to the exit. Politely, please." The men approached, one of them saying, "Ma'am, if you'll please come with us." Evelyn raised her chin, looked the security guard in the eyes and said firmly, "I'm not leaving here until someone from the board of directors speaks to me." "You're already causing too much trouble," Mark said. "If you don't leave now, I'm calling the police." The word police hung in the air like a calculated threat. Mark knew exactly what he was doing. It was the ultimate weapon against someone like her. Evelyn took a deep breath. "Go ahead and call them," she said calmly. "And while you're at it, explain to them why you're kicking the owner of the hotel out of her own establishment." Mark laughed, a mocking laugh that echoed through the lobby. "Oh, please, that's a good one. Owner of the hotel." He rolled his eyes. "All right, Ms. Evelyn, now you can go play businesswoman somewhere else." She then unlocked her cell phone and made a single call. "David, it's me. I need you here at the Grand Majestic Hotel now. I'm being kicked out." She paused, listening to the response on the other end. Mark stopped laughing when he heard the name. "That's right, and bring the lawyers too. I'll let them talk directly to the manager." She hung up. Mark frowned. "David? Which David?" Evelyn didn't answer. She simply crossed her arms and sat down on the lobby sofa, like someone who knows exactly what's about to happen. Silence fell again. Now no one was laughing. People began to wonder, what if she's telling the truth? Evelyn was born and raised in the south side of Chicago. She was the third of 4 children, raised by a single mother who worked as a housekeeper in various homes across the city. From a young age, she learned that the world wouldn't be kind to her, and that if she wanted to succeed, she would have to be twice as good and 3 times as strong. The shack where they lived had a leaky roof that made a deafening noise when it rained. Sometimes it rained inside. She slept in the same bed as her siblings, all crammed together, but full of dreams. Her mother, Carol, worked miracles with the little she earned. She never let them go hungry, but often she herself went without dinner to make sure her children ate. Evelyn was a dedicated student. She loved to study. While others her age were already thinking about dropping out of school to work, she spent hours in the public library, immersed in math books and biographies. One day she read the story of Madam C.J. Walker and was fascinated. "One day I'm going to have my own company," she would tell her mother, lying on the floor of their shack with a notebook in her. "Glee, you will, my daughter, just don't let anyone tell you that you can't," Carol would respond, her eyes shining with pride. At 16, Evelyn landed her first formal job as a receptionist at a small hotel on the north side. She took 2 buses and a train every day, leaving home before dawn. There, she discovered her love for the hotel industry. She loved seeing satisfied guests, organizing environments, thinking about how to improve people's experiences, but she was also a victim of sideways glances, racist jokes, and distrust from her own colleagues. "She's only here because of affirmative action," some would say. "She looks like she's going to steal something." others would murmur. But Evelyn didn't let herself be shaken. She worked hard, studied at night, took technical courses, and later earned a scholarship to a private college. She graduated with a degree in business administration and began to climb the ladder. She became a supervisor, then a manager. Each promotion came with sweat and resistance. Over the years, she saved every penny, lived frugally, and reinvested everything she earned. When she turned 33, she saw a unique opportunity. An old hotel in the Gold Coast was on the verge of bankruptcy. It was for sale. Evelyn did everything she could. She took out loans, sought partners, and presented her business plan with confidence and passion. That's when the Souza Lima Group was born. The purchase of that hotel was the beginning of everything. She cried alone in room 205 the day she received the keys. She remembered Carol, who didn't live to see her daughter become the owner of an empire. Today, the group had 6 hotels in Chicago and 2 under development. But for her, no place had the symbolic value of that first hotel. And it was precisely there that they were treating her like trash. What the world saw today, the elegant CEO, owner of a chain of high-end hotels, was just the tip of the iceberg. What no one saw was what lay beneath, the weight of loneliness, the weariness that never went away, the suspicious glances in business meetings, the uncomfortable silence when she entered rooms full of men in suits who didn't expect to see her as the boss. Evelyn learned early on that it wasn't enough to be good. She had to be impeccable. While white colleagues made mistakes and were forgiven, she was constantly tested. A poorly delivered presentation, an inaccurate data point, a firm tone of voice. Everything became ammunition to say she wasn't adequate. She had been in meetings where they mistook her for the secretary. She had been ignored in presentations until someone realized she was the one in charge. And even after proving her competence, the recognition always came with reservations. Wow, you don't even seem like you came from the South Side. You're very articulate, aren't you? Surprising. Evelyn would smile, but inside she bled. In the beginning, she thought about giving up. There were days when she cried in company, bathrooms when she went home in silence wanting to disappear. But every time she thought about quitting, she remembered her mother, her siblings, the women from her neighborhood who never had any chances, and she decided to keep going. She slept 4 hours a night, studied during her commute, worked double shifts, and always gave more than was asked of her. When she founded the Souza Lima Group, she knew she couldn't afford to fail. Failure wasn't an option for her. If she failed, they would. Say she confirmed what they had always said. The first time she tried to open a business account, a bank manager told her, "Ma'am, we don't have plans for your profile. Have you considered opening a sole proprietorship?" She was already an S-Corp. She managed to get credit through a small fintech company, with high interest rates that no white businessman would accept, but she accepted because it was that or nothing, and she turned that nothing into an empire. Over time, she began to be invited to lectures, won awards, had her face on the covers of business magazines, but even in hotels like that one, she was still seen as a stranger. That afternoon, sitting on the lobby sofa, waiting for David and the lawyers to arrive, Evelyn wasn't just being disrespected as a person. She was witnessing firsthand how invisible she still was, how structural prejudice continued to operate, silent, cold, cruel. And in that silence between whispers, she made a decision. I will never again allow someone like Mark to continue running a space that I built with so much sweat. What he and the others didn't know was that that moment would change the course of everything, not only for her, but for everyone who thought they could judge a woman by the color of her skin and the clothes she wears. That wasn't just another hotel in the chain. For Evelyn, the Grand Majestic Hotel was a landmark, a concrete piece of her own history. It was the first building she bought with her newly created company. Still, without guarantees, without strong credit, without support, only with courage and a business plan in her bag. She remembered the day she entered there as a buyer. The building was still run down, with leaks, torn carpets, and old furniture. The former owner was in debt and could hardly believe it when she showed up with a firm offer. "You want to buy this hotel?" he asked, almost laughing. "I do, and I'm going to turn it into the best in the region," Evelyn replied with the same firmness she carried to this day. The first renovation was financed with heavy loans. She personally trained the first employees, slept in rooms without mattresses during construction. She ate lunch sitting on the floor with the construction workers. Every detail of that place bore her mark. The wallpaper chosen with care, the lamps bought on sale, the paintings made by artists from her community. She remembered clearly the first reservation, a young couple who paid for 2 nights. When they left a note. "It was the best service we've ever had. We'll be back soon." Evelyn cried that day, not for the money, but because for the first time she felt she was on the right track. Over time, the hotel became a landmark, became profitable, and with its profits, she was able to open the second, the third, until reaching the 8 establishments she managed today. The Grand Majestic was always the most special. She never got rid of it, even when she received million-dollar offers to sell. It was, where everything had started. It was where her mother helped her clean the first room when she didn't have enough staff. It was where she spent her first New Year's Eve as a businesswoman, alone, watching the fireworks from the rooftop, giving thanks in silence. That's why, that day, she chose to return. Alone, without notifying anyone, without a driver, without assistance. Just her and her cherished memories. She wanted to see how the hotel was being cared for. She wanted to feel again that air of accomplishment that only that place provided. But instead, she found contempt. She was judged by her clothes, her color, her simplicity, ignored, humiliated, and threatened at the door of the place she herself built. Now, sitting in the same lobby she once designed with so much care, she observed the same chandeliers she chose, the rugs she had brought from out of state, the plants she personally requested to be watered more frequently. Everything there was a part of her, except respect, and she wouldn't let that go unpunished. Evelyn remained seated on the lobby sofa, legs crossed, looking calmly at the entrance door. On the outside, she was serenity. On the inside, a volcano about to erupt. The hotel staff, however, didn't stop. The manager, Mark, now watched from a distance but maintained the same expression of superiority. One of the receptionists muttered, "Is she still here? Who does she think she is? Wait and see. She's probably waiting for her husband to try and convince us she's rich." A housekeeper nearby chuckled, oblivious to who that woman really was. Even with the tension in the air, the environment seemed to proceed normally. Guests coming and going, orders being delivered, phones ringing. But around Evelyn, the atmosphere was different, as if she had ceased to be a person and become an ambulatory nuisance. The security guard, younger and visibly uncomfortable with the situation, approached and said, "Ma'am, would you like some water? Can I help you with anything?" Evelyn looked at him. His tone was different, less arrogant. There was doubt in his eyes. "Thank you, I'm just waiting." "Are you sure you wouldn't prefer to step outside for a bit?" The manager is going to learn something today," she replied with a slight smile. Mark approached again. "Don't you understand? This is no place to stage a protest. You're disrupting the flow of guests. Do you really want me to call the police?" Evelyn stood up calmly, looked him up and down. "Do you really believe you can make me leave here?" "I know I can, and I will. You're not the one in charge here," Mark retorted with irony in his eyes. It was then that the hotel's revolving door opened forcefully. 2 men in suits, accompanied by a woman in a blazer and badge, entered with firm steps. The receptionist's eyes widened. It was David, the chief legal officer of the Souza Lima Group. Beside him, Camila, the executive assistant to the president. Behind them, 2 private security guards. "Good afternoon," David said with a firm voice. "We are here on the orders of Dr. Evelyn Reed, founder and CEO of the Souza Lima Group." Silence spread like an electric current. Mark paled. Evelyn Reed. The woman he had been insulting for almost an hour now was called doctor by a chief legal officer. The same woman he threatened to expel was, in fact, the owner of everything, including his salary. Evelyn crossed her arms and stared at Mark, whose face now reflected shock. The realization hit him. It took Mark a few seconds to understand what was happening. His eyes darted from David to Evelyn, as if his brain refused to believe it. "Dr. Reed," he stammered, almost voiceless. Evelyn took a step forward. Her heels now echoed on the marble floor of the lobby with authority. "Yes, Evelyn Reed, founder, CEO, and sole proprietor of the Souza Lima Group." The name that's on the property contract of this hotel. The name that's on every single wall that you've only ever helped to manage, she said with a firm voice but without raising her tone. The guests began to approach, curious. Hotel employees stopped what they were doing. It was impossible to ignore what was happening. Camilla, the assistant, opened a folder and extended some documents to Mark. Here are the updated records from the Secretary of State, and here are the internal communications sent by email in recent weeks, reinforcing the guidelines of the new policy of inclusion and respect, including, Dr. Reed's photo. Mark took the papers with trembling hands, not knowing where to hide his face. I apologize, Dr. Reed, I had no idea. You had no idea I was… What, Mark? Evelyn interrupted, maintaining her composure. Simple? Black? Without makeup? Wearing ordinary clothes? Mark stammered. The answer didn't come. Don't worry, she continued. You didn't make a mistake because you didn't know who I was. You made a mistake because you judged who I appeared to be. You didn't see me as a human being, only as a type. The silence was absolute. Not a single breath dared to break the moment. And you know what's worse, she said, looking around. It wasn't just you. It was the receptionist, the housekeeper, the guests who laughed, the security guards who obeyed. All of you looked at me and decided I didn't deserve to be here. And it wasn't for lack of a name tag. It was for lack of respect. Evelyn turned to David. I want a meeting with the board of directors first thing tomorrow, and the immediate dismissal of the manager, Mark Antunes, for just cause. Mark tried to argue. Dr. Reed, please. I can explain. You can, but not to me. To the lawyers. Evelyn turned to the receptionist. And you, young lady, you have 2 minutes to take off your uniform and leave your name tag on the counter. The girl paled, but didn't react. She simply took off her name tag with trembling hands and placed it on the counter in silence. Evelyn took a deep breath, looked at each, face around her. You forget that the world has changed, and whoever insists on seeing people by the color of their skin or the clothes they wear will be left behind. With the room still in absolute silence, Evelyn walked calmly to the center of the lobby. All eyes were on her. Only the soft sound of the decorative fountain in the background could be heard. It was as if time had stopped, and everyone in that space knew deep down that they were about to hear something they wouldn't forget. I didn't come here today as the president of a company, she began in a low but firm voice. I came as a woman. I came as the daughter of Carol, who carried other people's dirty laundry on her back to give me the right to dream. She paused, looking at the employees who were still there. I know this place better than anyone here. I painted these walls. I cleaned the first rooms. I welcomed guests with a smile, even without sleep. And you know why? Because I believed that every human being deserves to be treated with dignity. Tears began to appear discreetly in the eyes of some employees, and even guests who had previously laughed now lowered their gaze. But today I saw that there is still a kind of dirt that can't be cleaned with a cloth, Evelyn said, looking at Mark from afar. It's the dirt of prejudice, of judgment, of arrogance. She turned to the young security guard who had offered her water earlier. What's your name? Matteo, ma'am, he replied, surprised. Matteo, thank you. You were the only one here who treated me like a human being. That doesn't go unnoticed. Starting Monday, you're promoted. You'll begin training to be the security coordinator. Matteo's eyes widened in disbelief. Seriously? Seriously. And if you continue with this pure heart, you'll go much further than people with degrees and ties. Evelyn turned to the others. From today on, all employees of this hotel will undergo new training, not only on customer service, but on respect, empathy, and inclusion. I don't care if you know how to make a bed in 10 minutes. If you don't know how to look a customer in the eye, you're no use here. She walked to the reception desk, looked around and said firmly, this place was built to welcome everyone. Simple people, rich people, people of any color, from any corner of the country. And whoever doesn't know how to respect that won't work here anymore. Evelyn knew she couldn't change the whole world, but she could start where she had power. And there, in that hotel, at that moment, she was taking a huge step, not only for her own story, but for all those who came from where she came and were still treated as invisible. In the days that followed that episode, the Grand Majestic Hotel was never the same. The repercussions of the scene took on unexpected proportions. A video recorded by a guest, capturing the moment when Evelyn revealed herself as the owner of the hotel, went viral on social media. Thousands of people shared the story with a single message: judging by appearances is the shortest path to embarrassment. Evelyn Reed's name gained even more prominence, but she didn't want interviews or public appearances. Her focus was elsewhere, to change the internal culture of the hotel. And she started with the most urgent actions. Mark Antunes, the manager who kicked her out, was fired for just cause. He tried to appeal legally, but the documentation and testimonies made the discriminatory conduct clear. The justice system ruled in favor of the company, and Mark left the process not only without a job, but with his reputation tarnished. The receptionist and the housekeeper who had mocked Evelyn were also dismissed, but unlike Mark, they received guidance and the opportunity to write a formal letter of apology to the CEO, acknowledging their error and taking responsibility. Evelyn, although firm, chose not to harbor resentment. "I don't want blind punishment," she said in a meeting with the new team. "I want transformation. That's all that matters." And that's exactly what she did. In the following months, Evelyn implemented a mandatory internal program called the Human Gaze, which included training with Black professionals, community leaders, social psychologists, and diversity consultants. All employees from the cafe to management were required to participate. "Here, no one will pretend they've learned, they will live the change," she said bluntly. The hotel also underwent aesthetic changes. Evelyn ordered the installation of an artistic mural in the main lobby, created by young artists from the South Side of Chicago, portraying Black professionals in different areas of society: executives, teachers, scientists, entrepreneurs. And a clearly visible plaque was placed right at the entrance. "In this place, no one will be judged by the clothes they wear, the color of their skin, or their origin. Here, humanity comes before the name tag." The environment began to change. Guests noticed it. New employees arrived with different perspectives, and even longtime staff rediscovered themselves. Mateo, the promoted security guard, became a symbol of how simple attitudes can change everything. "She just looked me in the eye, that's all, and it changed my life," he said emotionally in one of the first internal talks. The Sousa Lima group began to be recognized not only for excellence in hospitality, but for social responsibility and commitment to equality. Evelyn, in turn, continued to work discreetly, with the same humility with which she entered the hotel that afternoon, but now with the certainty that justice doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. Months after that momentous day, the Grand Majestic Hotel was transformed, not only in its service or rules, but in its essence. The walls seemed to have gained a new glow, as if they now reflected what Evelyn had always believed, that dignity is non-negotiable. Guests felt the difference in the air. The employees' smiles ceased to be forced. The demeanor, once automatic, was now welcoming. Many who previously acted out of convenience began to act out of conscience. Evelyn continued to visit her hotels, but always in the same way, discreetly, simply, without prior notice. Not to test anyone, but to remind herself of where she came from and what she fought for. She knew that the world wouldn't change in the blink of an eye, but she also knew that every change starts somewhere. One Saturday afternoon, she returned to the Grand Majestic Hotel, this time greeted with an emotional hug by Mateo, now the head of security. "Dr. Reed, you have no idea how much your attitude changed everything in here, including here," he said, pointing to his own chest. That same day, Evelyn announced her new general manager for the hotel. Her name was Jessica Williams, a Black woman, a single mother, a former employee of the laundry department who, after going through the training and demonstrating leadership, was promoted by Evelyn herself. "No one better to lead this place than someone who knows what it's like to be ignored and still keep going," Evelyn said, moving everyone present. Jessica took on the role with tears in her eyes, saying, "You didn't just change my life, you changed my self-esteem. For the first time, I believe that I can." The hotel became a national reference in inclusion and respect. Lectures, documentaries, and reports began to emerge, but Evelyn refused the spotlight. "The story isn't mine, it's ours. I was just a piece in a system that needed to change." And so, Evelyn left a legacy much greater than buildings and profits. She left a model of courage, empathy, and, above all, resistance with dignity. Because when the world closes the door on you, sometimes you're the one who needs to build the whole building. And have you ever been judged? By your appearance or your origins? Share your story in the comments. Your story can inspire other people. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to not miss the next exciting stories like this one. Evelyn's journey was a testament to the power of resilience and the enduring strength of the human spirit. It was a stark reminder that success should never be measured solely by material wealth, but by the positive impact one has on the world. Her story resonated deeply with people from all walks of life, sparking conversations about equality, opportunity, and the importance of challenging societal norms. The Grand Majestic Hotel, once a symbol of exclusion, became a beacon of hope, a place where everyone felt welcome and valued. Evelyn's influence extended far beyond the walls of her hotels, inspiring other businesses to adopt more inclusive practices and fostering a more equitable society. While the Grand Majestic Hotel experienced a surge in popularity and positive attention, Jessica faced unexpected challenges in her new role. Some longtime staff members, resistant to change, subtly undermined her authority, clinging to old habits and whispering doubts about her ability to manage the hotel's clientele. One incident involved a wealthy, influential guest who made inappropriate advances towards a young female employee. Jessica, remembering Evelyn's emphasis on respect and dignity, immediately intervened, confronting the guest and ensuring the employee's safety. However, this angered the guest, who threatened to withdraw his business and spread negative reviews online, testing Jessica's resolve to uphold the hotel's new values, even when faced with potential financial repercussions. Meanwhile, Matteo thrived as the regional director of security, but he grappled with his own internal conflict. He felt a deep sense of responsibility to protect the hotel and its employees, but he also struggled with the lingering trauma of his past, growing up in a neighborhood plagued by violence and crime. This led to moments of overprotectiveness and a tendency to be overly suspicious, which sometimes clashed with Jessica's more nuanced approach to conflict resolution. During a security review, an external consultant pointed out Matteo's hypervigilance, suggesting he undergo counseling to address his past experiences and develop healthier coping mechanisms. This revelation forced Matteo to confront his own vulnerabilities and embark on a journey of self-discovery and healing, mirroring the transformation the hotel itself had undergone. Evelyn, ever vigilant, sensed the undercurrents of resistance and the challenges faced by Jessica and Matteo. She decided to implement a mentorship program, pairing seasoned professionals from outside the company with the hotel's emerging leaders. This initiative aimed to provide Jessica and Matteo with guidance and support, while also fostering a broader exchange of ideas and perspectives within the organization. Evelyn also organized a series of workshops focused on emotional intelligence and conflict resolution, designed to equip all employees with the skills to navigate difficult situations with empathy and understanding. These workshops became a safe space for open dialogue, allowing staff members to voice their concerns and challenge ingrained biases, contributing to a more cohesive and supportive work environment. However, the hotel's commitment to social justice also attracted unwanted attention. A conservative media outlet launched a smear campaign, accusing the Grand Majestic of reverse discrimination and promoting a woke agenda. The controversy ignited a public debate, with some praising the hotel's courage and others condemning its policies. This backlash threatened to tarnish the hotel's reputation and drive away potential customers, creating a new wave of pressure for Evelyn and her team. Adding to the tension, the city announced plans to build a new luxury hotel just a few blocks away, posing a direct competitive threat to the Grand Majestic. Evelyn found herself facing a multi-front battle, defending her values, supporting her team, and ensuring the hotel's continued success in an increasingly challenging environment. The media attacks intensified, with the conservative outlet digging into Evelyn's past, attempting to paint her as a radical activist rather than a successful businesswoman. They twisted her words, selectively quoting her interviews and highlighting her involvement in social justice initiatives. This onslaught took a personal toll on Evelyn, reminding her of the prejudices she had faced throughout her life and forcing her to confront the fear that her efforts to create change might ultimately jeopardize her success. Adding to her anxieties, she received anonymous threats, both online and by mail, warning her to back down and stick to running hotels. Despite the mounting pressure, Evelyn remained steadfast, refusing to compromise her values or be intimidated into silence. She knew that the fight for justice was never easy, and she was prepared to weather the storm. Jessica, caught in the crossfire of the media controversy, found herself questioning her own abilities. The criticism leveled against the hotel's policies made her feel vulnerable and exposed, stirring up insecurities she had long tried to suppress. She sought solace in Mateo's unwavering support, and their bond deepened as they navigated the challenges together. Mateo, in turn, found himself increasingly drawn to Jessica's strength and resilience, admiring her unwavering commitment to doing what was right. Their shared experiences forged a powerful connection, hinting at a potential romance blossoming amidst the turmoil. However, both were hesitant to act on their feelings, fearing that a personal relationship might complicate their professional responsibilities and further fuel the controversy surrounding the hotel. To counter the negative media narrative, Evelyn decided to launch a proactive public relations campaign, showcasing the positive impact of the Grand Majestic Hotel on the community. She organized events featuring local artists and musicians, partnered with charities to host fundraising galas, and highlighted the hotel's commitment to employing individuals from diverse backgrounds. She also invited journalists from more reputable publications to visit the hotel and interview staff and guests, aiming to provide a more balanced and nuanced perspective. This strategy began to shift the public perception, gradually eroding the credibility of the smear campaign. However, the financial strain of the public relations effort, coupled with the looming threat of the new luxury hotel, put immense pressure on the Grand Majestic's bottom line, forcing Evelyn to make difficult decisions about resource allocation and cost-cutting measures. As the opening date of the rival hotel approached, the competition intensified. The new establishment, the Pinnacle, boasted state-of-the-art amenities, celebrity chef restaurants, and breathtaking views, directly targeting the Grand Majestic's affluent clientele. A price war ensued, with both hotels offering increasingly steep discounts and extravagant perks to attract guests. This cutthroat competition put immense pressure on Jessica, who had to find innovative ways to maintain the Grand Majestic's occupancy rates and revenue without compromising the hotel's values or sacrificing employee morale. She implemented creative marketing strategies, leveraging the hotel's unique history and commitment to social responsibility to differentiate it from its more superficial competitor. Her leadership was tested as she navigated this challenging period, balancing the need to compete effectively with her determination to stay true to Evelyn's vision. As the financial pressures mounted, Evelyn found herself increasingly isolated. The demands of running the company, defending the hotel's reputation, and dealing with the personal attacks left her with little time for anything else. Her social life dwindled, and she struggled to maintain meaningful connections outside of work. The weight of responsibility began to take a toll on her physical and mental health, leading to sleepless nights and moments of intense anxiety. She confided in David, her trusted legal advisor, about her fears and doubts, revealing a vulnerability that she rarely allowed others to see. David, who had always admired Evelyn's strength and determination, offered unwavering support, becoming a confidant and a source of stability in her increasingly chaotic world. Meanwhile, Jessica and Mateo's relationship deepened, providing a much-needed source of comfort and support amidst the turmoil. They found themselves spending more and more time together, sharing their dreams, fears, and vulnerabilities. However, their professional roles and the ongoing controversy surrounding the hotel created a complex dynamic, making them hesitant to fully commit to a romantic relationship. One evening, after a particularly stressful day, they shared a passionate kiss, acknowledging the undeniable connection between them. This moment of intimacy forced them to confront their feelings and make a difficult decision. risk their careers and the hotel's future for the sake of love, or suppress their desires and maintain a professional distance. The opening of the Pinnacle Hotel sent shockwaves through the Grand Majestic. Initial reports showed a significant drop in occupancy rates, particularly among the hotel's most lucrative clientele. Evelyn, facing mounting pressure from her investors, had to make some tough decisions. She considered temporarily scaling back some of the community outreach programs to cut costs, a move that sparked heated debates within her team. Jessica, deeply committed to the hotel's social mission, argued passionately against this, reminding Evelyn of the values that had come to define the Grand Majestic and attract its loyal customer base. Mateo, ever protective of the staff, expressed concerns about potential layoffs and the impact on employee morale. The conflict created a rift within the leadership team, testing their unity and threatening to undermine the progress they had made. Amidst the professional turmoil, Evelyn's personal life took an unexpected turn. Her close bond with David deepened, evolving beyond a professional relationship into something more intimate. David's unwavering support and genuine affection provided a much-needed source of comfort and stability in Evelyn's life, but she hesitated to fully embrace the relationship, fearing that it might be perceived as a conflict of interest or further fuel the media's attacks. Meanwhile, Jessica and Mateo finally decided to take a leap of faith and pursue their romantic feelings, but their relationship faced its own set of challenges. The intense pressure at work and the constant scrutiny from both colleagues and the media put a strain on their budding romance, forcing them to navigate the complexities of balancing their personal lives with their professional responsibilities. The financial crisis deepened, forcing Evelyn to consider more drastic measures. The board of directors, increasingly anxious about the hotel's performance, began to pressure her to sell off some of the company's assets, including the Grand Majestic. This proposition filled Evelyn with a deep sense of betrayal. Selling the Grand Majestic felt like abandoning her roots, betraying her mother's memory, and undoing all the progress she had fought so hard to achieve. She vehemently resisted the board's demands, arguing that the hotel was more than just a financial asset. It was a symbol of hope and resilience, a testament to the power of social responsibility. Her defiance created a major conflict with the board, putting her leadership position in jeopardy. Jessica and Mateo, aware of the gravity of the situation, rallied the hotel staff to find creative solutions. They organized fundraising events within the hotel, showcasing local talent and partnering with community organizations to attract new customers. They also implemented innovative cost-saving measures, reducing waste and streamlining operations without compromising the quality of service. Their efforts inspired a renewed sense of unity and purpose among the employees, who rallied behind Jessica and Mateo's leadership, determined to protect the Grand Majestic and uphold Evelyn's vision. This surge of collective action created a powerful counterforce to the board's pressure, demonstrating the hotel's resilience and its unwavering commitment to its values. The board of directors, however, remained unmoved. Driven by short-term profits and fearful of further losses, they scheduled a vote to remove Evelyn as CEO and proceed with the sale of the Grand Majestic. This news devastated Evelyn, pushing her to the brink of despair. She felt betrayed by the very people she had trusted to support her vision, and the prospect of losing the hotel felt like a personal defeat. David, witnessing her anguish, urged her to fight back, reminding her of her strength and the unwavering support of her employees. He proposed a bold plan to rally the community and launch a campaign to save the Grand Majestic, showcasing its vital role in the neighborhood and its commitment to social justice. Jessica and Mateo, upon learning of the board's decision, wholeheartedly embraced David's plan. They organized a massive rally outside the hotel, inviting community leaders, local businesses, and former guests to speak out in support of the Grand Majestic. The event drew a diverse crowd, united by their shared appreciation for the hotel's values and its positive impact on the city. The media coverage was extensive, highlighting the hotel's struggle as a David and Goliath battle against corporate greed and social injustice. This outpouring of public support put immense pressure on the board of directors, forcing them to reconsider their decision. However, The outcome of the vote remained uncertain, leaving Evelyn and her team in a state of anxious anticipation. The day of the board meeting arrived, filled with tension and uncertainty. Evelyn, supported by David, Jessica, and Mateo, presented a powerful case for preserving the Grand Majestic. She highlighted the hotel's financial recovery, its positive impact on the community, and its unwavering commitment to its values. She spoke passionately about her personal connection to the hotel, her mother's sacrifices, and her vision for a more just and equitable world. Her words moved even the most hardened members of the board, forcing them to confront their own values and consider the long-term consequences of their decision. The debate was fierce and emotional, with both sides presenting compelling arguments. The outcome of the vote hung in the balance, leaving everyone on edge. In a dramatic turn of events, just before the vote, a prominent city official publicly announced their support for the Grand Majestic. They praised the hotel's contributions to the local economy and its commitment to social responsibility, emphasizing its importance as a symbol of hope and progress. This endorsement swayed the opinion of several undecided board members, tipping the scales in Evelyn's favor. The final vote was close, but ultimately the board decided to reject the sale and retain Evelyn as CEO. A wave of relief and jubilation swept through the hotel and the community, celebrating the victory of values over profit and the triumph of the human spirit. In the aftermath of the board's decision, the Grand Majestic Hotel experienced a resurgence. The public support and the media attention generated a wave of new customers drawn to the hotel's commitment to social responsibility and its reputation for exceptional service. The financial crisis subsided, and the hotel's future seemed secure. Evelyn, however, emerged from the ordeal a changed woman. The challenges she faced and the sacrifices she made forced her to reevaluate her priorities. She realized that true success was not solely about financial gain or professional achievement. It was about making a positive impact on the world and fostering meaningful connections with others. This newfound perspective led her to prioritize her personal life, nurturing her relationship with David, and finding a better balance between work and life. Jessica and Mateo's relationship blossomed amidst the hotel's renewed success. Their shared experiences and the challenges they overcame strengthened their bond, solidifying their commitment to each other. They became a power couple within the hotel, inspiring the staff with their passion, dedication, and unwavering support for each other. However, they also faced the ongoing challenge of balancing their professional ambitions with their desire to start a family. The demands of their careers often clashed with their personal aspirations, forcing them to make difficult choices about their future. Years passed, and the Grand Majestic Hotel continued to thrive as a beacon of inclusion and excellence. Evelyn, having found a fulfilling balance between her personal and professional life, remained a guiding force for the company, but she gradually stepped back from the day-to-day operations, entrusting the leadership to Jessica and Mateo. The hotel became a training ground for a new generation of hospitality professionals, known for its commitment to diversity, its innovative approach to customer service, and its unwavering dedication to social responsibility. The Human Gaze program, initiated by Evelyn in the aftermath of her initial experience, became a cornerstone of the hotel's culture, ensuring that every employee treated every guest and colleague with respect and empathy. Jessica and Mateo, now married with a young family, continued to lead the Grand Majestic with passion and vision. They expanded the hotel's community outreach programs, partnering with local schools and organizations to provide opportunities for underprivileged youth. They also implemented sustainable practices, reducing the hotel's environmental footprint and becoming a model for eco-friendly hospitality. Their personal and professional lives intertwined seamlessly, creating a powerful synergy that propelled the hotel to new heights of success. They never forgot the lessons they learned from Evelyn and the challenges they overcame, always striving to uphold her legacy and create a more just and equitable world. Evelyn's journey became a source of inspiration for aspiring entrepreneurs, particularly those from marginalized communities. She established a foundation to provide mentorship and funding for new businesses that prioritized social impact alongside profitability. Her story was featured in documentaries and books, and she received numerous awards and accolades for her contributions to society. However, she remained humble and grounded, always emphasizing the importance of collective action and the power of individual change. She continued to visit the Grand Majestic Hotel regularly, not to bask in her achievements, but to reconnect with her roots and draw inspiration from the people who worked there. The Grand Majestic Hotel became a symbol of a new era in the hospitality industry, one that valued diversity, inclusivity, and social responsibility. Other hotels began to emulate its practices, implementing similar training programs, partnering with local communities, and prioritizing sustainability. The hotel's success proved that it was possible to be both profitable and ethical, challenging the traditional notion that businesses had to choose between profit and purpose. The Grand Majestic became a destination for travelers who sought not only luxury and comfort, but also a meaningful experience that aligned with their values. As the years went by, Evelyn's influence continued to expand. She became a sought-after speaker, sharing her story and inspiring audiences around the world. She used her platform to advocate for social justice, economic equality, and the importance of empathy and compassion in business. Her message resonated with a new generation of leaders who sought to create a more just and sustainable world. While she cherished the recognition, Evelyn remained grounded in her values, always remembering the struggles she overcame and the people who supported her along the way. She never forgot the lessons she learned at the Grand Majestic Hotel, the place where her journey truly began. The Grand Majestic Hotel, under the continued leadership of Jessica and Matteo, became a global icon of inclusive hospitality. It received numerous awards and accolades for its commitment to diversity, its innovative approach to customer service, and its positive impact on the community. The hotel expanded its operations, opening new branches in other cities, each one reflecting the values and principles that had made the original Grand Majestic so successful. Jessica and Matteo, while managing their growing empire, remained dedicated to their family and their community, raising their children with the same values of empathy, resilience, and social responsibility that had guided their own lives. One day, a young woman named Maya arrived at the Grand Majestic Hotel, seeking a job as a receptionist. She reminded Jessica of herself many years ago, full of dreams, but facing the challenges of limited opportunities. Jessica, remembering the kindness and belief that Evelyn had shown her, gave Maya a chance, mentoring her and helping her to develop her skills. Maya quickly excelled, embodying the values of empathy and respect that defined the Grand Majestic. Her success became a testament to the enduring impact of Evelyn's legacy and the cyclical nature of empowerment. Those who have been lifted up have a responsibility to lift up others. The story of Evelyn Reed and the Grand Majestic Hotel became a timeless tale, passed down through generations of employees and guests. It was a story of overcoming adversity, challenging prejudice, and building a more just and equitable world. It was a story that celebrated the power of individual action and the transformative potential of collective effort. And most importantly, it was a story that reminded everyone that true success is not measured by personal gain, but by the positive impact one has on the lives of others. The Grand Majestic Hotel stood not just as a place of luxury and comfort, but as a living testament to these enduring values. As Evelyn grew older, she reflected on her life with a sense of profound gratitude and fulfillment. She had achieved more than she could have ever imagined as a young girl in the South Side of Chicago. She had built an empire, challenged prejudice, and inspired a generation. But her greatest accomplishment, she realized, was the impact she had on the lives of others. The Grand Majestic Hotel, the symbol of her struggles and triumphs, stood as a testament to the power of resilience, empathy, and the unwavering belief in the human spirit. And though she knew that the fight for justice was never truly over, she had faith in the future, knowing that the seeds of change she had planted would continue to blossom. One evening, as the sun set over the Chicago skyline, casting a golden glow on the Grand Majestic Hotel. Evelyn gathered her family and closest friends in the lobby. Jessica and Mateo stood beside her, their children playing happily at their feet. David held Evelyn's hand, his eyes filled with love and admiration. As Evelyn looked around at the faces of those she cherished, she felt a deep sense of peace and contentment. She knew that her story was not just her own. It was a story of collective effort, of shared dreams, and of the enduring power of human connection. And as the music played and the laughter filled the air, she knew that the legacy of the Grand Majestic Hotel would live on, inspiring generations to come. And so, the story of Evelyn Reed and the Grand Majestic Hotel became more than just a narrative. It became a living testament to the possibility of change. It echoed through the generations, inspiring countless individuals to challenge prejudice, to embrace empathy, and to strive for a world where everyone is treated with dignity and respect. The hotel stood tall, not only as a symbol of luxury and comfort, but as a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in the face of adversity, the human spirit can triumph, and that true success lies not in personal gain, but in the positive legacy we leave behind. The Grand Majestic's doors remained open to all, welcoming every guest with the same warmth and acceptance that Evelyn had longed for on that fateful day, ensuring that her dream of a truly inclusive space would endure. The final image is one of enduring hope, a diverse group of people, united by their shared humanity, raising a toast to the Grand Majestic Hotel, to Evelyn's memory, and to the unwavering belief that a better world is possible. The camera pans up to the hotel's rooftop, where a single star shines brightly in the night sky, a symbol of resilience, perseverance, and the enduring power of the human spirit to overcome darkness and illuminate the path towards a brighter future. The story ends not with a period, but with an ellipsis, suggesting that the journey towards justice and equality is going, and that the legacy of Evelyn Reed and the Grand Majestic Hotel will continue to inspire for generations to come.